The judge in the Rudy Giuliani case is calling his bluff, and no matter what decision Rudy Giuliani makes, he appears to lose. Let me explain what is going on. Rudy Giuliani has attempted for a while to get permission from the court to be able to attend the Donald Trump inauguration, even if court is that day. Rudy Giuliani believes he deserves to go, and the judge told him no. When Rudy Giuliani was fighting with his own lawyer and his own lawyer wanted to quit, Rudy Giuliani saw this as a chance to try to delay things, stating he couldn't find a lawyer and blaming the fact that some lawyers believe that this judge is biased against Donald Trump. The judge denied a delay that would have possibly allowed Rudy to attend the inauguration. Well, this week, we had Rudy appear in court virtually, because last week was a hearing on whether Rudy Giuliani committed contempt of court. And this week, he was found in contempt remotely. So Rudy has decided to press it further by saying he wants to be remote for the next hearing where he finds out his punishment for the contempt. And he listed the reasons as being knee conditions and a lung condition and security concerns, credible death threats. And he listed off Iran. And he cited a Yahoo article from 2022. And there was no real proof of anything, and the judge seems to have agreed. So the judge is calling the bluff. Because obviously this is Rudy Giuliani setting up for another day he doesn't have to appear in person, and eventually try to do this on the actual date of the inauguration and then attend. I think, to me and for most people, and probably the judge, that is very clearly his plan. Rudy isn't the best planner to try to keep things secret. So the judge has decided to do this. Directing defendant to file, by January 9th, 2025 at 2 p.m., a sworn declaration under penalty of perjury from Mr. Giuliani that except for travel required for court proceedings, he has been unable to travel and has not traveled from his residence in Florida in the past 30 days, and that he remains unable to and will not travel in the next 30 days. This is December 9th to February 7th, 2025, due to these same medical concerns and security concerns, and it's signed by the judge. This hits Rudy in quite a few ways because Rudy, his lawyers, when they didn't turn over things, Rudy didn't turn over things he was supposed to involving his doctors he visited and things like that, all of the information, because they're fighting that Rudy doesn't actually live at this Florida address, that he lives in other locations, and he's lying when he says that this Florida address is his primary address, and if he's lying, then he has to turn it over to the plaintiffs in the defamation case. Well, Rudy's lawyers have argued that it doesn't matter where the doctors are, because, for example, Rudy could be traveling from Florida to New York to see them. He could be doing that. He could be doing massive travel across the country to see doctors or travel to wherever and still be living in Florida. That was basically one of the arguments, from my understanding, put forward by his defense. But Rudy didn't want to turn over his travel plans. Well, now, the judge is saying that if he's, he has to swear that he hasn't traveled in the past 30 days except for court. If he swears to this, and he had any doctor's visits to a doctor that isn't in Florida, well, that's a big problem, wouldn't you think? That'd be perjury. So he wouldn't be able to sign this. But also, you'll notice it's the next 30 days past Donald Trump's inauguration. So if Rudy signs this and then proceeds to go to the inauguration and it is proven, well, he was under penalty of perjury that he wasn't going to do that. The judge has called the bluff. That's what this is, right? I think the judge knows exactly what Rudy's doing. Rudy is trying to come up with a way still to not have to, be there for the inauguration. Rudy probably thinks somehow that if he can make it through, talk to Trump on that day, maybe Trump can save him. not how it works, but that's probably what he's thinking. And the judge is very clear. He has to be in court if there's court that day. He does not get to not be there. Now, Rudy has an issue, as you can tell by the contempt charge. He doesn't like to follow court orders. So there's always not just, sign this or not sign this. There's a third option where no matter whether he signs it or not, he just doesn't show up to court that day. And he goes to the inauguration anyway, and then tries to say, oh, charge me. And this seems like a judge that would 100% would. 100% would go after him with the full force of the court. Now, I will say that if you are checking this up, you're seeing this, remember the timing. Filed by January 9th, 2025. I'm probably going to schedule this for the morning of January 9th. I'm recording this at basically midnight, just before midnight. So just so you know, there might be an update. He might have already submitted it. If you search it, you might be able to see it, whatever. But this is where we're at with the Rudy case. I think this shows that the judge is tired of dealing with the nonsense. Rudy hasn't been turning things over. He's not been arguing in good faith. I mean, he's doing everything he can to act like he's above the court, in my opinion. And this is a judge that's tired of it. Now, if you ask me, do I think that he's going to sign or not? I don't think he's going to sign. Personally. Because I think his lawyer is going to tell him not to, because he has traveled and they might be afraid that the other side can prove it. And I mean, if they can prove it, I mean, that can get, punishment for that perjury. That can, they can start figuring that out possibly before the inauguration. So I don't think he's going to sign it. I think Rudy's going to appear in court, and I think he's going to be very angry in court. We've seen how I've seen, you might not watch any of it. After appearing in court, he loves to go outside and rage. He's going to have so much rage if he's told no. This is good to see, in my opinion, because it means Rudy can stop. Hopefully, this will get Rudy to stop messing around, and he'll actually, follow some court orders for once. In this case, it seems like every time he's ordered to do something, it feels, at least to me, that it's half-assed. It's not fully done, or turn this over, and he turns over some of it. And that's what we're getting into this whole hearing about, is that Rudy's not doing what he's supposed to do. To the point that one of his own lawyers, a friend for 50 years, wanted out of the case. Right? That's not good when your friends are fleeing. But I don't see him signing. But even if he hasn't signed, I wanted to make sure I made a video on it. Because I want to make sure I did it because I remembered to do it. Because the fact that this was written by the judge means the judge is done playing.